Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived in a village near the forest. Whenever she went out, the little girl wore a Red Riding cloak, so everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood asked her mother if she could visit her sick grandmother. "That's a good idea," her mother said. So they packed a nice basket for Little Red Riding Hood to take to her grandmother. "Remember, go straight to Grandma's house," her mother cautioned. "Don't dawdle along the way, and please don't talk to strangers. The woods are very dangerous."
Don't worry, Mommy. I'll be very careful.
Bye.
Bye.
But when Little Red Riding Hood noticed some lovely butterflies in the woods, she forgot her promise to her mother. She watched the beautiful butterflies flit about for a while and listened to the croaking and cackling sounds of the frogs. Little Red Riding Hood was enjoying the warm summer days so much that she didn't notice a dark shadow approaching out of the forest behind her. Suddenly, the wolf appeared beside her. "What are you doing out here, little girl?"
Oh, hi. I am on my way to see my grandma who is sick. She lives through the forest near the roof.
Then she realized how late she was and quickly excused herself, rushing down the path to her grandma's house. The wolf, in the meantime, took a shortcut. The wolf, a little out of breath from running, arrived at Grandma's and knocked slightly at the door. "Oh, thank goodness, dear. Come in, come in. I was worried sick that something happened to you in the forest," said Grandma, thinking that the knock was her granddaughter. The wolf let himself in. Poor Granny did not have time to say another word before the wolf tied her up and hid her in the closet. The wolf poked through Granny's wardrobe to find a nightgown that he liked. He added a frilly sleeping cap, and for good measure, dabbed some of Granny's perfume behind his pointy ears. A few minutes later, Little Red Riding Hood knocked on the door. The wolf jumped into the chair and pulled the pillow over his nose. "Who is it?"
It's me, Little Red Riding Hood.
"Oh, how lovely. Do come in, my dear."
Grandma, I'm here.
"Hello, my dear. I've been waiting for you." She could scarcely recognize her grandmother.
Your voice sounds different, Grandma.
"Oh, it's the cold," squeaked the wolf, adding a cough at the end to prove the point.
But Grandma, what big ears you have?
"The better to hear you with, my dear," replied the wolf.
But Grandma, what big eyes you have?
"The better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf.
But Grandma, what big teeth you have?
"The better to eat you with, my dear," roared the wolf, and he leapt out of the chair and began to chase the little girl. Almost too late, Little Red Riding Hood realized that the person in the chair was not her grandmother, but a hungry wolf. She ran across the room and through the door, shouting,
Help! Wolf!
as loudly as she could.
Help! Wolf!
A woodsman who was chopping logs nearby heard her cry and ran towards the cottage as fast as he could. Woodsman knocked out the wolf and carried him deep into the forest where he wouldn't bother people any longer. Little Red Riding Hood heard a noise coming from the closet, so she opened it and saw her grandmother.
Grandma, I'm so happy to see you.
And Little Red Riding Hood immediately set her grandmother free.
Grandma, I'm glad that you're okay. I'll never speak to strangers or to others in the forest again.
"Oh, my dear, you've learned an important lesson. Thank goodness you shouted loud enough for the kind woodsman to hear you.
The